One.
Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 1. I want to share with you that I'm using the rubric attached at the bottom of the assignment. If you go into your assignment folder and you'll click on Communication Inhibitors Report and scroll to the bottom, you'll see the rubric that outlines each of the areas. This is true for all of the assignments if you go into that assignment folder. You'll also see the PDF that outlines and details what you need to include in the assignment, and that's right here. So broken into 4 separate sections, as you see, and each one of them details with a different aspect of it. So if I go back to yours, what I note here is, yes, you have it in 4 separate sections. You want to remove these assignment requirements. So again, you're writing, while you have very specific instructions of what to include in each section, this is to be approached like you're writing it in a summary, a sum total paper. So instead of question number 1, writing the question and then remove the question. So I would remove this section here and remove this here. Keep the Roman numerals, like in a table form, but you want to remove those. I'm not sure what happened here with this portion. Somehow your table was moved to the bottom. I'm not sure how to do that. At first I thought maybe your whole paper hadn't populated. Maybe something was wrong with my computer, but I noticed that it's down here. So somehow you want to squish that up a little bit. And then finally, you just want to remove this portion right here. I know you've cut and pasted it from the assignment, and that helps to keep you very direct. I agree, but you want to remove that for the final presentation purposes. So if I look here, the very beginning of your paper, you could remove that. Yes, communication is key. Yes, we know that. You're exactly right. You identify it with it. That is a term that we hear all too often. But right now we're here to just describe your workplace, define the work that you do, and describe the types of communications that come there. So actually I would put it in a different order. Describe the work that you do, the workplace that you do it in, and then the types of communication. So you just want to be very direct and very concrete. I'm stationed I'm on a 1-year deployment at an Air Force base where communication is very important. My job function is, and you don't have to give me very specific, give me a general understanding. My job function deals with computer analytics all day long. I deal with interdepartmental mailings. I deal with cartography. I don't know, somehow an understanding of what the function of the job is. Are you stocking shelves? Are you reading reports? Are you, dealing with computer programming? And then describe the types of, there are 500 people here at the base with me. We're from all over the world and no one has their families accompanying them. We are located in 5 separate buildings, so communication takes place between text, emails, and face-to-face meetings, however it is. But I guess what it is, tell me the brief description of the job, brief description of who works there, and then what the communications are like. This section for the definitions, you've done a great job of identifying 3 separate inhibitors. And what I want you to make sure that you focus on is that they are what's called parallel structure. So here you say cultural barrier, a barrier in communication where people are from different countries, cultures, or backgrounds. Environmental barrier, anything that hinders the effective communication in the environment around you, samples of environment. Language barrier, a barrier in communication resulting in miscommunication understanding. Do you see how these 2 are following the exact same pattern and this one in the middle is different? In parallel structure, you need to have the items in a series. This is a series, 1, 2, 3, that use the same structure. So you want to pick one. Do you want to pick the format that you're using for 1 and 3, or do you want to pick the format that you're using for 2? And make certain that all 3 of those inhibitors are defined the same way. And then finally, when we come down here, to this portion, remember the first part of this table is to describe the situation and then label the inhibitor and then define how that inhibitor takes place. So, here I understand where you're giving me a description and you're saying 2 coworkers. give me a very specific description of when. This is like a general template of something that, yes, it probably happens in all workplaces, but did you notice this exactly specifically on an identifiable day? In the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a meeting, two coworkers were looking at one another. They were seated 2 rows apart. One cut their eyes. It was in the middle of this. So you want to give as much information as possible. Right here is just a scenario. I need a very specific event that took place in your workplace, and the same for each of these others. While you do identify different types of barriers, you want to make sure that you're talking about a very specific event that you witnessed. And then again, you want your evaluation to reference the barriers that you labeled as contributing factors to inhibiting communication in your workplace. So I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to reading your final paper.